So I think we have had a lot of discussion around sustainability, and before I get into the work that we do, I was reminded of something, this whole discussion on water we were just now having. And we're thinking of bottles and cans and all, and at that point in time I was reminded of my brother, who's unfortunately no more, and he used to tell me, he was 14 years elder than me. And once, I grew up in a very small town, and when I got a job, I got to fly and all of that. So I returned with this bottle in my hand, bottle of water. And he said, you're from Rajasthan, and tum ye pani ki botal lekar aayi ho. He was like, he was my mentor, and whatever values I have, I think they come from him. And he said that जिस दिन ये बोतल जगह जगह चली जाएगी ना, उस दिन देश का पतन दिखने लगेगा. And our country, and he said, जहाँ हर जगह प्याऊ होती थी, nobody went thirsty. I remember my school days, and when I was looking at all of them, and I was like, we used to return from school, get down from the bus, and there was this प्याऊ, and there was this old lady, केवड़े का पानी, खस का पानी, उसमें. Or we never had diarrhea and things like that. We were all good immunity, absolutely fine, doing well in life. And now we are saying, oh my God, you visit a doctor and they say, oh, you have B12 deficiency. Why do we have B12 deficiency in the first place? Because we are having over-purified water. So one thing is also this whole concept of one health. So sustainability is also about, if we approach it just from the science of non-consumer behavior and all, we are bound to fail, because the moment we approach it like that, we are not educating ourselves correctly. It's also about behavioral change, that everything that sustainability entails will eventually work towards our own, as human race, higher levels of health also. Coming from public health stream, I have to make a comment on public health. So I think the whole work that we do on environment conservation, it's predominantly biodiversity work, both under our interventions where we have something known as Harit, which is basically a 7-state wide program, where we are focusing on biodiversity, we are focusing on hardcore action. I see Khatri ji here, who is our partner, and from sparrow nests to, but you're not going to get sparrows just like that unless you really create environment for them. So you're all in fact welcome to visit this little urban forest which is celebrating 5 years in Gautam Budh Nagar. And that's a model where we actually partnered with the district administration. We got their buy-in that all the land which is actually supposed to be open revenue land. And there's this whole concept of commons. So when we say commons, the common air, it belongs to all of us. The common water, it belongs to all of us. And common soil is also. So these are common spaces, and they got to be green. While all of us say they belong to us, we also have responsibility towards them. And then there is this whole concept of blue, brown, and green. So if those 3 colors we are able to visualize all the time and keep working towards them, and in a coherent model where government also. So why I'm saying this Sorkha model to you and inviting you there you will see the work, that how it is possible to really have a partnership with government, bring together the citizens collective, and I'm glad that community engagement came out way ahead in the discussion, because without that, nothing will happen. The ownership is critical. I think many school children have come there. More than 120 RWAs are participating. They take care. There is a tree buddy concept. And it's not one. Basis that we were able to influence the state policy to have urban vatikas, to have smaller, even if it's 1 acre land, 2 acre land, rather than doing avenue plantation, which is also good, let's do patches which are biodiverse. So here we've done more than 50 plus native species. And then there is this whole science of actually being native. Again, going back to the roots. We must know what belongs to the soil. And this haphazard introduction of something known as greenery, let's be very, very aware that greenery, every greenery is not greenery. It needs to कितनी बार हमारे यहाँ बात होती है कि वो पेड़ पेड़ नहीं है जिस पे गिलहरी नहीं आती, जिस पे बहुत सारी चिड़ियाएँ घोंसला नहीं बनाती. वन ट्री इज़ एन इंस्टीट्यूशन. One water body is an ecosystem. So what we've been able to do is we've been able to bring the right experts. We have PhDs in wildlife sciences, biodiversity. There is a highly qualified team that works on the agenda. You know, just to give you few figures, I mean, we will be closing almost 1 million saplings with 90% सर्वाइवल. दैट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट. सो हमने देखा है लॉट ऑफ पीपल कम एंड अभी चलो आज पेड़ लगाएंगे. गो बैक एंड सी व्हाट हैपेंड. दे डोंट इवन कट द प्लास्टिक एंड पुट द थिंग देयर एंड जस्ट रन अवे. आज प्लांटेशन डे हो रहा है. वी आर डूइंग मोर हार्म. लेट्स नॉट डू दैट बिकॉज दे आर ऑल लिटिल बेबीज. अप्रोच देम एज यू नो, आत्मा का कॉन्सेप्ट बड़ा ज़रूरी है. दे आर ऑल लिविंग सोल्स. दे कांट बी लेफ्ट टू डाई. सो with the more love and affection, and we have 220,000 people across the world, and now this agenda has gone global. There is a whole lot of engagement, both from employees' side as well as local communities' side. So just to give you a few figures, of course,
Didi, we can ignore that.
Yeah. The other part is waste, of course, which also we are working with Clean Noida, all the hoardings and all, which you already said. But I think at the end result, if we are measuring the biodiversity impact, if we are able to report how many native species got back, how many native species of both flora and fauna are flourishing on our sites, I think then we call it success. So measurability is equally important.
As a distillery company, we have taken two initiatives. One is Bottle for Change and next one is Nai Umid. So Bottle for Change initiative is to make an awareness program, and then we wanted to reach all the individual housing societies, schools, college institutes and corporates. So in that process, we had till date reached around 6 lakhs plus citizens. We started this way back in 2018, and also we had reached around 600 housing societies and still planning to further scale it up. And we are working in 7 cities and 9 municipality corporations. And last week also we had a inauguration in a school wherein we wanted to make a school as a zero plastic waste school. So they don't wanted to have any plastic that is being sent from the school. We will collect it and then get it recycled. And the plastic equivalent to that which is collected, we will be giving them different things like maybe the shirts, t-shirts or benches. So we are doing that initiatives, and also we are reaching to the corporates like the hotels and other places wherein they feel that the bottles, it's plastic bottles is a challenge for them. We take a thing that whatever plastics is being given to them is being collected back, and then we'll recycle it, and then we'll give them certificates also. In this text, even the ministry, the government also has come out with the plastic waste management regulations and notification and order. So plastic being a very important thing and a very important resource, because every item you see, any one form of other, it will be a plastics. Maybe now we will not be knowing the importance of that. Maybe later we'll know that. But plastic, each and everything has a plastic bit of that actually. So it is, we has to responsibly dispose, because there are lots of materials like people discussing on aluminium. There are wood, there were iron, there were copper, metal, everything. And then now we have come to a plastic revolution. And this is not only in India, it's globally the same thing is happening. So plastic, a very good material, how it can be collected and sent for recycling. Okay. So here comes even the municipality and even the urban local bodies, wherein the wet and dry waste to be kept separately. So that the wet is going for compost like schools are doing, and then it can be used for their work. So each and every employee of Bisleri are working for these projects, and we as a company, by collaborative efforts of our employees and our suppliers, vendors and stakeholders, last year we were a plastic neutral company. Means the plastic whichever we consumed, we had collected back and then been recycled and then used as a different products. And we have recycled the equal quantity of plastics, and then it has been transformed to maybe a different products, like maybe a t-shirts, maybe a shoes, maybe a jacket. And even this jacket which I am wearing, it's made from a PET bottles. So there are lots of requirement. And even mentioning just 2-3 minutes before, even the government is coming out with a regulation that the bottle can again be made as a bottle.
So our framework is called Winning with PEP Positive, which is an end-to-end transformation of how we source, make, and sell our products, keeping the planet and people at the very core. So there are 3 thematic areas under this vision. The first one is sustainable agriculture or positive agriculture, which is all about regenerative agriculture, sustainable sourcing, biodiversity, as Nidhi pointed out, and working with agri-livelihoods, ensuring that farmers have sustainable livelihoods. That's the first theme. Second theme is positive value chains. So under value chain, we have some material things like water, plastics. I think a lot of things have been said about plastic. Let me just sort of correct some facts out here. Plastic per se is not bad. As a material, I think it's highly essential. We are able to bring you good products in a right manner because of plastics. It is the litter issue, the plastic waste management, which is an issue. Because if there was a viability of removing plastic altogether, we would have already done it. So I think more importance we need to give to littering issue or plastic waste management issue, where our company is really working with waste management partners and also working to create awareness within schools. We have seen amazing results in school, and I want to just touch upon 2 such campaigns that we've done. One is called Tidy Trails. We have a snack plants in Mathura. We are running a mobile van there, which is engaging with shopkeeper establishments, 800 shops, and a lot of folklore and awareness is happening through Nukkad Nataks, where shopkeepers are being told to segregate waste at source. Because if segregation at source is happening, then the waste is not waste anymore, it's of value. We are then repurposing these waste that is collected, the sorted waste, and creating benches and chairs, which is being given to municipalities to put in municipal parks. Because seeing is believing. When people really see what is the outcome of sorted waste and how it can turn into value, it's just an eye changer.
Interesting.
Game changer. What we're also doing is we are working with our own employees and children and citizens at large on a lot of cleanathon, plog runs, which is basically cleaning up while you are jogging. So the fitness is ticked there, and also the motto of cleanliness. So we've seen a lot of success there. We did the first one almost 2 years back when COVID was not there. We did it in India Gate, and a lot of stakeholders participated there with us. Recently, we did it in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. In COVID, we did it more on a virtual platforms. And again, amazing energy, we saw in this plog run where, people from every walk came there and showed a lot of solidarity to pick up the waste. And then again, it was repurposed into important, things like benches, chairs. We've been doing this awareness in schools in West Bengal, in Darjeeling, in Varanasi. And again, the amazing part is not only to create environmental consciousness, but also social responsibility. Because the chairs and benches which we were able to do out of collection of plastic waste, we were able to donate it into schools which were underserved and did not have benches and chairs. So the children were there really energized and said, okay, with my initiative, the waste that I'm able to bring from home, I'm not littering it, is actually doing a CSR activity. So I think those are some of the things that we are focusing on. Climate, again, is another feature that we are doing, and nutrition. So there is whole environmental focus that we have, and also from our PepsiCo Foundation, which is our philanthropic arm, we are focusing on clean drinking water solutions for communities, nutrition, and women empowerment as key thematic areas. Again, I'll just take a minute to talk about water. We've also seen water, while we are doing a lot of intervention on
water is important. It's coming from Pepsi, yes.
It's material to us, so let me talk about water. We've seen that, water is a very local issue. So if you are taking water from, Gujarat and probably doing your replenishment in somewhere else, it doesn't make sense. So it is local. We need to replenish or recharge where we are taking the water from. So we have very good programs around water. One is the water recharge program. So in every plant location that we have, we've done a baseline assessment of the watershed. So we know precisely how many water sources are there, primarily in the form of community ponds that we can take for recharging. So what typically happens is these ponds have been there for a long time, but they are not maintained, they are not desilted. Hence, they are not collecting rainwater or recharging. It's just like a stagnant water is there. So we really work with the communities out there because the entire water stewardship happens through them. They are an integral part of what we do. They are, rain gauges are there, so they can see how much rainfall is there. There is observation well, so they can see what is the impact on the water levels in the community. So those programs are there. Again, livelihood is a very important component of the program. What we've seen is typically women travel to long distances because they don't get water in the catchment. Because of these interventions, now they're able to find water at their home, and they are able to engage in various livelihood activities. So we had one such activity in Channo in Punjab, Sangrur, where these women said that we want to do soap making as a livelihood. They said we may not be able to go commercial, but it'll help us control our expenses on washing. And one is obviously water availability, but the women empowerment, the confidence that they have got now, it's amazing. They are doing all sorts of soaps now, baby soaps, organic soaps, and we are now taking it to commercialization. So those are some of the examples that I wanted to give. And Ranjan, to your point, our employees are very, very integral part to whatever we do. They are important, to realize the vision that we have. It's not just on papers, it's not just with partners, but each and every one of us have a role in our sustainability vision.
I don't know about claim, Ranjan, but the purpose of Cargill's existence, that we have been in this business for 157 years, is to nourish the world in a safe, responsible, and sustainable way. And all the 155,000 employees across 70 countries that work in the company are very proud and are really, this is ingrained into each one of us. And that is what probably gets us out of bed every morning to come to do what we do. In terms of the initiatives, I'll speak specifically of India and also in the spirit of SDG 17. We as a corporation, and I think my colleagues would also agree, we have the wherewithal to be able to put certain amount of time, resources, but we have to heavily rely on the expertise of partners, of academia, of research, of scientific organizations to be able to make very conscious, mindful decisions of how we engage. Now, when we talk about creating an environment impact through doing a climate resilient agriculture practice, for example, Cargill, again, is operating across the value chain. There is likelihood that there is a little bit of Cargill in everything in this room as well, even on the floor that we all walk. We are a predominantly B2B organization. Ranjan, thanks, you alluded in the beginning that we have these consumer brands, but this is an outlier in India. We do not have it everywhere. We create ingredients for our customers who then make the final product for the consumers. In terms, I'll just probably give one example from what we do in India. In Karnataka, for example, we have been working with some 5,000 plus households, including women, including farmers, and smallholder farmers are a very important part of our conversation because we are a food and agriculture organization. To train them on agri-practices, climate resilient agri-practices, and the reason I bring up the example of Karnataka is because it's a water-stressed geography. The crops survive on rain-fed, it is rain-fed agriculture there, right? So over 5 years that we worked there, we had to learn and grow together. I mean, if I as a corporate come and say, oh, I know it all and I can bring in the investment, yes. I can bring in my intention, but then it takes that entire community to come together and say, yes, this is the change that we want to make and this is how we will sustain it. So I feel fulfilled to say that after the 5 years that we have been in that geography, building that ecosystem, 2,500 women farmers have very successfully adopted homestead farming, which means that they are aware and using all ecologically viable stuff for the soil that they're growing the crops on. So 2 things is happening there, right? Their environment is getting impacted in a positive way. Second, their household incomes is also getting impacted because they can now use the income from their family that they would have otherwise gone and spent to buy the vegetables on something else, maybe a child's education, better nutrition, whatsoever. So we very firmly believe, and I again go back to my conversation, that Environment impact does not happen in isolation. A social impact does not happen in isolation. The governance, and I'm talking about E as G here, does not happen in isolation. It has all have to come together. The community has to come together, and we have had learning sometimes hard way to come to this, that when we make big goals, we have to have our stakeholders engaged with us to be able to make those decisions and move forward and do course correction when we need to. And I think my colleagues here will also probably agree with me, because sustainability as practitioners for us has been a journey of how it has evolved.
Take off from here about recycling. I mean, I would like to know, on a different level, battery recycling. Is there anyone here who's doing battery recycling? You are. Good. I'd like to have a conversation with you later. Now, there is this rare earth elements. There's some conversation going on. I don't know, schools, they have to talk about these issues of sustainability.
Right.
Now, rare earth elements, your EV batteries or your EV cars, what is the cost of an EV car today? 50% of that cost is battery. And these lithium-ion batteries are being imported from China. Because lithium is the major exporter.
It's the next oil, isn't it?
So I'm just trying to say is that how many of us can recycle our own batteries, our electric batteries in India? I think very few. And if we can do that, that's the journey that we have to take in the next generation now. That's the area, whatever your mobile phones that you have, your television screens, what is the component in that? Rare earth elements, 2% to 20%. Is there any recycling being done in India? That's the sustainability question that we should be talking about, especially in schools. And we at Jindal Stainless Limited have taken on this initiative of having this kind of a collaboration, of having a sense of a conversation, of developing about the fact that you've got these natural resources, these rare earth elements resources in India. The quantities are little, but the space is huge. The opportunities are huge. And if we can actually do this kind of a mining, we'll be able to achieve lots for the future.
Yeah.
So rare earth elements and critical strategic elements is something that we need to talk about, that nobody is talking of. We keep reading in a newspaper, Terry would be the best one to be talking on this issue, but some newspaper article just comes up and that's it, forget it. The government has got a lot of control. There are only 2 companies in India which are doing this kind of work. Why 2 companies? Why the private sector? That's a sustainable question that we've got to think about. And as far as our company is concerned, I mean, we are manufacturing sheets. We're not the end product. It's just that from the raw material, 8 million metric tons of raw material required to produce 1 million tons of stainless steel.
Yep.
There are so many issues around sustainability. When we talk about, we've got the largest integrated stainless steel plant in the world in Orissa. Right from scrap till the end product of flat steels are being produced. From there they go to the foundry. So we do a lot of skill training for the foundries to try and come up with stainless steel claddings, stainless steel, lifestyle products. It's different to carbon steel. Carbon steel is different to stainless steel. And I look after stainless steel products, and stainless steel other corporate social responsibility and sustainability. That's why I'm talking about on a different plane, rather than just all this we are doing as it is. Sustainable agriculture, water, etc., etc. But there are broader areas which we need to get engaged, and need to get engaged today. COP 26, 27 can carry on. Now, hardly any outcome of COP 27, unfortunately, except for that fund which has been created. So, I mean, I've spoken across the world, and I'm very passionate about the fact that at the ground level we need to really work on. Let's start small and scale up. Thank you.